Hi, I'm Emmett Beach. I'm a writer. My latest book, The Adrian House, is available on Amazon. I also have a blog, of course, on WordPress. And I thought, since I'm also a definite YouTube addict, I would create my own YouTube channel where I have an audiobook version of the book, which you can listen to, of course. I hope to have more audiobook versions of my work up there as well. And I thought I would take some of my essays from my blog and also just read them, record myself reading them, obviously, in a clumsy, unprofessional manner, and put some pictures up there to go along with it because it's video, and see if people like it. So here we go. They had no business being in the story. My story, The Adrian House, is available on Amazon. I've marketed it as a romance. It's definitely about two people in a relationship, so that seemed like the most appropriate category. Mind you, I don't think I'm in the demographic for romance, either as a reader or a writer. I'm a dumpy, middle-aged, over-the-hill man in my 50s. But I enjoy many types of literature, and I believe we should listen to many different voices. I was introduced to romance through Felicia Day's YouTube channel Vaginal Fantasy, now sadly defunct. And yes, they put vagina in the title. I'm just reading it out loud. But I like The Guild and other Felicia Day projects, so I watched a couple of videos. It was basically an online book club where Felicia and some other folks announce a book ahead of time and then discuss it later. A lot of the books were in the horror, fantasy, and science fiction vein, which I also enjoy. At least while listening to the ladies of Vaginal Fantasy, some of the books sounded promising. I had never read romance, so I tried it. After breathing through a couple of them, I could see the appeal. They're typically light and fun. The pattern of the genre is pretty easy to recognize. A beautiful woman has been hurt in a previous relationship and has sworn to never love again. But then a man appears, handsome, mysterious, and with a deep wound of his own. Usually he's rich, or she is. Can these two souls heal each other? Well, of course they can. The great thing is the pattern can be fit into any other setting. The rancher's daughter meets a cowboy of the Old West. A medieval peasant girl grabs the attention of a rakish, but ultimately good-hearted local lord. The vampire, werewolf, demon, some kind of monster can still be saved if a strong, good-hearted woman can just do some emotional labor. He's super hot, so there's some rewards for her along the way. While I'm reading all that, I had an idea for a quirky sort of story. I have some friends who obsessively read conspiracy theories, even though they hate them. That's the point, I guess. They discovered hate watching before anyone else. I admit I sort of get into it as well. Conspiracy theories are sort of the cautionary fairy tales of our time. During one conversation, I wondered aloud if the lunar landing hoaxers ever talk to the people who think the government has a flying saucer stored in Area 51. I mean, why fake a moon landing when you can zip over in an alien spaceship, take some pics, and be home for happy hour? We had a laugh about that, but it got me thinking, what would that conversation look like? Wouldn't they just yell at each other on some web form, then log off? What would make them keep talking? Looking at my pile of romance books, that's the answer. What if they had a deep emotional bond or some deep mystery that forced them to work together? I need to tell you something, though. That was the beginning of the writing of the story, not the end. So I'm not spoiling anything. In fact, the finished tale is a bit different. Now, I love dysfunctional characters. Characters who don't really understand their own motives. Very, very imperfect people. Because I think everyone is trying to understand themselves, But more often, we rationalize our irrational impulses, like believing you'll start that diet tomorrow, or one more drink is fine, or that the problems in your life are due to forces over which you have no control. I say that because, as much as I don't believe in conspiracies, we are at the mercy of forces beyond our control. If your employer decides to relocate the company, you can't control that. If your significant other dumps you, you can't control them. You can deal with those situations in a healthy way or an unhealthy way, but you're not in control of many aspects of your life. True as that may be, that isn't the romance genre pattern. The two lovebirds are supposed to be attractive, successful, and capable of overcoming any obstacle to their happily ever after ending. My characters, like me, are very flawed, ordinary people. My two sweethearts wouldn't be background characters in a regulation Harlequin romance. So, I almost dumped the whole idea. The story didn't fit any particular genre, so no reader will find their expectations met. But, like the special someone who catches your eye, I couldn't get them out of my head. I worked with writing groups and freelance editors who gave me incredibly valuable advice. Finally, I just accepted my characters with all their flaws and problems. I needed to tell their story and give them a chance. I hope you will give them a chance as well. I hope you will also like this video, as in at least click the button. Maybe click subscribe. And if the Adrian House sounds a bit more intriguing to you now, there's going to be a link in the description to where you can get it on Amazon.